They sold it off, doing a bearish left right combo, stochastics heading down. On its own, that wouldn't have been all that terrible, but the transportation index sold off hard. The S&P sold off. And even though the NASDAQ was positive on the day, you can see that it wasn't a very decisive or bullish candle. A doji that closed near the low end of the trading range. So there's a lot of what I would say that because of the lack of direction in this market here for the last month, that was kind of a killer signal. So remember the they still haven't passed the stimulus bill, and was the deadline this week. So anyways, that's our political structure. All right, crude oil held up today. Stayed pretty positive, but a lot of the crude oil stocks that we got involved with last week because of the J-hook patterns sold off pretty hard today. Apache didn't quite come back to the T-line. Darn, I'm hitting the wrong symbols here tonight. Occidental did come back to the T-line with an evening star type signal. So for this uptrend to continue, it needs to stay above the T-line. Jay, that's pretty much true. Why put off to the last minute, which you can easily do tomorrow? So this is still a very sector stock specific market environment. Fortunately, we have a few that are just working out well. Ocular, J-hook pattern, J-hook pattern. This one's been working out very nicely, as long as it stays above the T-line. We recommended HC or ACHC because of this J-hook pattern. Oh, I thought I just saw crude oil was essentially flat, wasn't it? That's down 5 cents. And let's see what gold is doing. Yeah, gold has gone flat. Silver, silver is pretty much flat as a pancake. So those are areas that you don't really want to be in. Goss, we recommended this one today on a positive open where it gapped up and it's pulled back. However, I think it's trading back up in this area after hours. If this opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying it because of the fry pan bottom breakout. First target, obviously, the 200, but there should be enough strength in this fry pan bottom to probably come back up and fill the gap. So there's been a group that has started to get kind of lazy. Lithium needs to open positive and trade positive tomorrow. That whole electric car sector has gotten weak. As you can see in NIO, still heading down probably to the 200-day moving average. GP, probably the same scenario. Very had been acting well, but it did a bullish engulfing. So same scenario on this one. It has to open positive and trade positive. You're still in this fry pan bottom, J-hook type pattern. And DraftKings, not a lot of energy in it yet, but you can see that it's slowly building up. Bouncing off the 50 with a bullish engulfing, closing back up above the T-line. You can be buying this one, or more conservatively, you wait for it to break out to this level. There's a gap right here that it could be filling, so it should be heading in the right direction. Hang on to your, oh, okay. I can see that fits in. Yeah, nothing there yet. If you were short on this one, I would have covered the shorts today because it's bounced off the 34. So remember, a lot of people ask, why do you have the 34 on your chart? Because it works reasonably well. So it's something that you do want to pay attention to. But we do have a lot of J-hooks setting up. Simo. Recommended this because of the best friend breakout. And then this is why you want to know what the nature of each individual pattern is or signal. Kind of pullback, indecision, indecision, indecision. When you start seeing that, what's that really telling you? That there's not a lot of conviction in the selling. So get ready for the next move up. Good likelihood, but this one's going to move higher. And when I say good likelihood, it's going to move higher. It's on the basis that a pattern is setting up because of the accumulation of investor sentiment, which means when it does appear and you can start recognizing it, it's going to put you in situations where the probabilities are much greater that you're going to be heading in the right direction, even though you might be in a sideways market in general. The pattern setups are going to give you that much better advantage of seeing that the price is moving in the right direction. We started buying VXRT today on strength. It backed off near the close, but it's trading positive after hours. If it breaks through this level, definitely got a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. And same scenario on Kohu. Can't even type. What's happening here? Kohu looks like it's trying to set up as a J-hook pattern. Now it traded positive but backed off. But as long as it's still in this trajectory, staying above the T-line, you want to keep an eye on it. On the short side, real quick, Goose had the bearish kicker signal. Let me make this bigger. Bearish flutter kicker signal. Fell through the ice, the blue ice failure. Came up, you can see it failed exactly at the 50, closed back below the T-line, making the 200-day moving average a likely target. Excuse me. We are kind of watching that same scenario over here on Run, where if it starts trading off, another blue ice failure potential, bringing you all the way down to the 200. We recommended shorting Red Robin because you can see all the sell signals up here, kind of a, not quite a wedge, but when they started breaking down through the T-line, that pretty much was indicating first target, and then the second target, which means the 200-day moving average would be where everybody would panic sell to. So I'm showing these because this is exactly the reason why in a market that's moving sideways, you can find just as compelling short positions as you can long positions. And as long as there isn't a bias in the market, one way or the other, or that it might flip at any time, you're still going to make money if the market's heading down in some long positions. You're still going to make money in short positions if the market's heading up. And if you're in a sideways mode, not knowing which way it's going to go, there's going to be plenty of opportunities in long positions as well as short positions just because of the simple scanning techniques we have with candlesticks. And here is a good reason why you wait to see what happens at the close. Today, ADS, with the market opening positive, it gapped up. It was trying to trade up through the T-line, but then it slowly started selling off, selling off, selling off. So what do we got? We still have sell signals, close below the T-line, stochastics heading down. They couldn't get up above the T-line. So I always tell people, do as I say, not as I do, because when it traded positive on this day, I closed out my short position on Overstock, even though I figured they were probably at least coming down to the 200-day moving average. So this is why I always advocate, if something's going against you, just give it to the end of the day and see what it does, because more than likely a trend is going to continue in the direction that it was originally moving. Same scenario here. Look where Carnival opened today. Way up here. So here is a very simple entry strategy. Sell signal, kind of a bearish doji sandwich, closed below the T-line. They opened it positive. Wouldn't pay attention to it. But then during the day, is it selling off, selling off, selling off? Where is a high probability entry for a short trade? If it comes back down through the close of the previous day, what's that telling you? That this is all still inferring that the sellers are in control. That's when you can go short. And here's another one, where the other day we closed out the short position because it looked like it was supporting in here. But then now it'd probably be reiterated as a short because they failed here and they failed here. You're probably still in this downward trajectory. Let's see, we didn't do Blink. Blink is now run out of steam. It's basically closed right here just below the T-line. Close enough to the T-line to say, if you're long, it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow. All right, thank you, Neil. And I can't remember, did we do a Saturday session on when to take profits? So we'd recommended Capri a while ago, but then look what it's been doing. Oh, we did do it, Jace? All right. Oh, I know what I was supposed to do. Because we had so much information on when to close out a bad trade or when to take profits, that I was going to split them up to, the entry and exit strategies, to split it up to the entry strategies and then another session on when to close out trades. Don, I think, yeah, I'm going to do it Thursday, a little bit more on when to take profits. But anyways, observe the obvious. Stochastics start to head down. They're having a hard time getting through this level. You're trading right sideways near the T line. Even though you haven't closed below the T line, it's a very simple transaction. If they don't open this positive and trade positive tomorrow, or if they open it lower, you close it out immediately. That tells you they've kind of run out of steam. Okay, all right, back in September. Where are we? In December. All right. Let me go through the biggies real quick. Amazon, not a whole lot there. You can see that it's caught in a sideways mode, even though they're trading positive. Once they hit the 50 today, they started selling it off. Probably wouldn't be long or short Amazon. Apple, running into the same problem. It's probably in a very slow uptrend, and right now with it closing back below the T line, it might be drifting lower. So there hasn't been anything real exotic in the biggies. Here's NVIDIA. This might have a little scoop type pattern setting up. But with the market not having any major direction, this one needs to have a lot of confirmation. I probably wouldn't pay attention to this one until they do break out through this level, just because of the market not really having any direction to it. Now, Netflix, on the other hand, has a little bit more evidence there that there is a pattern setting up, kind of your cup and handle. So if it pretty much breaks out through this area, that's when you can start buying. And Tesla was holding up well also. You can see kind of the J-hook pattern in progress. So the J-hook pattern last week worked very well for the oils. You can see how Apache bounced up off the 200. Occidental bounced up off the 200. AROC bounced up off the T-line with a bullish flutter kicker. Now they're in profit-taking mode. But this week, there's lots of good J-hook patterns in the biotechs. PGen, you can see how it drifted back, and then as soon as they hit the T-line gap up, a J-hook pattern in progress. Mara. Uh-oh. Well, what happened there? How did that thing get turned on? My microphone got turned on. That's just a fine howdy-do. MARA, kind of your classic fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern, look at a little kicker type setup starting the next uptrend. So this is kind of a common sense analysis. If you start seeing a lot of the biotechs in good patterns, here's Surf. Fry pan bottom with a kind of a doji sandwich breakout today, implying there's more upside. I don't know, is this a CPXS? I guess this is a biotech, but that's not the right. CDXS. There's a J-hook pattern setting up. Provided they open this positive tomorrow, expected to get back up into this trajectory. So the reason I'm pointing these patterns out is that when the market's moving sideways, this is Marvell with a best friend gap up off the 50. That you're much better off going after the stocks that have good pattern setups because at least you've got two things going for you. One, the probability it's going to head in the direction we expect it to, and two, the magnitude of the move is going to be much greater than merely slow uptrending stocks in an uptrending market or hanging on to flat trading stocks that are moving sideways in a flat market. So the patterns are things that you want to go with because they're more likely going to move in the direction you expect them to. So the J-hook patterns are working very well. The fry pan bottoms patterns, even though few and far between, are also working well. And this is TCDA, another best friend gap up. Want to buy this one on Positive Trading because that would give you your bobble breakout. And here's SOL that people were trading in the chat room today because of that little gap up. Another one that has the prospect of heading back up pretty quick into the trajectory. So there's still good charts out here, even though the market's moving sideways. Mankind, even though it's a $3 stock, it's got a very good chart going for it. And RVP has been thrown around a little bit. And here's something that you want to pay attention to. When you see a big breakout move, the next day likely you're going to see some profit taking. But what did this tell us? That there was new investor sentiment in this trade. Profit taking, you watch for the profit taking to be over. When it's over, that's when you can start getting in. And that's kind of the same. Can't even remember which one it is. That's just a fine howdy do. I guess it was Goss. Yeah, that is now trading up here after hours. So that breakout of a pattern, even though there was profit taking today, still has something going on in it that's going to indicate there's a lot more upside to that fry pan bottom breakout. So anytime we can see a pattern, that's not it. Kind of a fry pan bottom J-hook pattern on Domo. So again, just putting you in the right place at the right time. I meant to recommend this on Friday, but I had other ones that I looked at, so it was just a function of couldn't recommend them all. Now, a lot of people were asking about apps, and let's remove this line. You can see where the resistance level is on this one. Pretty much right in here. And it came up to that resistance level. Now, anybody that does technical analysis can see where there's a resistance level. That means everybody's watching to see what happens here. We know that we got a doji sandwich with a gap up. Now remember what human nature tells us. If they're gapping up to a level that everybody can see could be a resistance level, that means they're probably not going to be too concerned about the resistance level if they're gapping up to get there. I'd be ready to buy this one on Positive Trading tomorrow, telling you you've now broken out into new territory. KNSA, there's your bobble breakout, implying you've got more upside. And CNST, there's your J-hook pattern. And observe the obvious. Gap up, best friend, consolidation. Remember the normal trading sentiment of investors. If they go through a resistance level, they come back and test it to see if it's going to act as support. If it's acting as support, that adds a lot of new confidence into that trend because everybody can see that it's acting as support. So you want to be buying this one pretty early because that's the J-hook pattern and expect more upside as everybody now gains confidence that the the support level is acting as support. Here's one that you can keep an eye on. Look at your bullish Harami hammer, inverted hammer, bullish confirmation up through the T-line, and look where they did it. Right here at this level and at the 50-day moving average. That's a lot of evidence that there was buying starting to come in at that level. And Arlo, we had looked at a couple weeks ago because of the doji sandwich. And look where the doji sandwich, I'm sorry, not the doji sandwich, stick sandwich. Big up day, big down day, big up day. And what usually happens coming out of a fry pan bottom? A lot of whipsaw. And then the whipsaw continued. Now we're still above the T-line and we're doing a J-hook pattern, implying there's still more strength to this fry pan bottom breakout. And PEBC, that's not what I wanted. There's something missing on that chart. Did I type it right? Looks like I did. Something wrong there. Okay, so on the other side, the downside, as we mentioned, GSX. You can see where it's failed. There's a good possibility they could be coming much lower. I don't know what that support line was. Maybe it's not supposed to be here. But there's more downside. I don't know. Whoops. No, same chart. It is the renewable energy partners. Yeah, but it had more of a chart to it. Oh well. Oh, so the reason I keep saying put your safety stops in. Overbought, doji, safety stop right there so you don't get hit with something like that. That's probably it, Jay. Thank you. And space. This one, did they have a failure of their launch? I think they were, didn't they supposed to have a launch on Friday? Anyways, whatever happened, you want to be out of this and maybe look to short it back to this level. The oils all sold off today. Joe, you have to watch to see if they're going to, was it theirs that crashed on return? I thought it was the other company. Okay, that was Elon Musk, okay. So here's Michael's. Apparently some bad news from somewhere. Doji gap down. That one you can short. There's a gap here to put you in the right direction, but then I would suspect they're coming back to test the 50-day moving average. Some of the mining stocks got hit. You can see the shooting star, the bearish engulfing. Now, where could this one come back to? A lot of people ask, would you ever use Fibonacci or Bollinger Bands or anything like that? You can use whatever you want to. So if I was looking for this to pull back, first target, second target, or you come over here and say, all right, let's put on a Fibonacci retracement. There's our next target, there's another target, and there's another target. So it's not that we're looking for them to come back to these levels. We're looking to see which level they come back to and maybe form a buy signal. So we want to use everything that everybody else is using to see where they're making their decisions. The electronic cars Kendai looks like it's doing a bearish J-hook pattern potential. Nikola looks like it's doing a bearish J-hook pattern potential. And then some of the airlines, CPA, there's a bearish left-right combo. That one you want to get ready to short on a on weakness tomorrow. First target, second target, even third target, all the way down here to where the gap is. Now, a lot of people say, well, don't gaps get filled? Aren't you kind of concerned? No, we're not concerned on this move. But gaps eventually get filled most of the time. So now it might be another trade after this trade has been closed out, that it might be coming back down to those levels. Whose handwriting is this? HXR. I think this is one of the hotel REITs. Another one that's got sell signals and a close below the T-line. A gap back here, which would kind of coincide with meeting up with a 50-day moving average. Park Hotels, same scenario. So these are just some right now that look like good opportunity to go short. There's a bearish left-right combo, and yes, that's a viable short. This is one of the gold stocks. Looks like it's still in a downtrend. And then SRNE. Look at the failure right here. Good prospect of coming back to the 200. Anytime you see that selling right at a major moving average that everybody else is watching, that's a pretty good indication that the current trend is still in progress. I thought did their engine fail to ignite? Okay. Okay, so again, we're looking at situations right now where you can be buying, but you also want to have some short positions in your portfolio. So you're probably going to see some of the biotechs, which are being affected probably by the virus or vaccine distribution or enhancement of it. A lot of these, like I have no idea what PGen does, but I assume has something to do with the virus. Yeah, that explosion was quite impressive. I hope they use that explosion for a Rambo movie someday. Okay, so that's about all I've got. I don't know where the pre-market futures are right now, but it doesn't matter. It's only going to matter when we get close to the about 10 minutes before. Okay. All right, so the Dow up 75, that's not really any major move. That's just a little bounce. All right, so is there any general questions on candlesticks? Once we recognize we're in a pattern, how many candles do we need to concentrate on to manage our decision making? It's just the pattern. And then once the pattern sets up, now you go to your next analysis. Is it staying above the T-line? Question about stop hunting. Is it real? I got a NVIDIA anticipating a bearish left right combo. Now it's trading way up after hours. Was that a stop hunting? I don't know what a stop hunting is. Well, let's take a quick look. And Harry, I guess right now, let's see if I can move this a little bit. You can see that it's trading up right in here. So depending on where you stopped out, this is why I always wait for something to finish up the day, because this one didn't actually close below the T-line. So I would give it one more day to make sure it was opening positive. Now, if you did stop out, there's nothing wrong with that, because you do have a bearish left-right combo, and it's trading up here right now, but that's right now. For all we know, tomorrow it's going to open down here. They are not usually going to take out stop if you've got 1.4 million shares trading. They're not going to go through 140,000 shares to get up to take out your stops. You might see that more often in a very low volume stock, but I think over the last probably 25 years now, the volume has picked up so much that market makers aren't looking to take out stops. They've probably got enough on their hands just to cross the stocks at the market where it's trading to worry about where the stops are. Left-right combo, a doji followed by a gap. No. Does that include the opening gap, or does that have to be classic empty spot on the chart? Which one was it? I can't even remember. Was it Simo? This is a gap. Doji gap up. Now that's not a left-right combo. That's called a best friend. You call it your best friend because not only is it usually going to produce a high probability or high probabilities of moving in this direction, but it usually produces a very strong move in that direction, and you see these quite often. So there's a plethora of those trades. A left-right combo is a doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. Now, if you see a doji, I think the volume's all right on Sumu. If you see a doji, forget what I was going to say now. Oh, if you see a doji, and then it opens positive and trades positive, even though it's not above the high of the previous day, that's still, if you're in the right condition of the market, that's still a good signal. The gap up is the showing the strength. Okay, so I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And hold on for 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Had a log roll out of the fire. DQ, yeah, that wasn't quite a best friend, but it was the doji gap up. You're right at the breakout level. Let's see, had one that TAC. Oh, I was going to recommend this one a while back because of the doji sandwich breakout of this little downtrend. That's been acting well. Bearish left-right combo in the Dow, yes. And a close below the T-line, yes. That's a good indication we're probably heading lower. When you say a stock should open higher and trade higher in order to enter a long position, how long should it trade positive before we enter? It depends on what the market conditions are doing. Now, because the market conditions are flat right now, I usually give it maybe 3, 5, 7 minutes to make sure it's trading in the direction we think it is. Now, there might be some days where if something looks like it's got a strong buy signal, the market looks like it's in an uptrend, but on the open, the market opens lower. Maybe it would take, with the market opening lower and the stock opening higher, it might sit there for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes before the buying comes in because everybody's waiting to see what the market's doing. If the market's opening higher and we expect it to be in an uptrend and the stock that we're looking at is opening higher, might only take 90 seconds to decide, up, they're still buying this, let's get in right away. Yeah, a lot of times now, when you put in a stop, it is held at your brokerage firm as an electronic trade and doesn't execute until that price is hit. As soon as that price is hit, then it kicks in so that the market makers can't really see what's sitting out there. And again, the volume has gotten up so big on a lot of these stocks that it's hard for market makers to move around to take out stops. Whoops, okay, I finally scrolled back to where I should be. XLF, another one that can be shorted because of today's bearish left-right combo. DRNA, nothing there yet. Probably wouldn't be long or short, and probably would use today's high for a breakout indication. It has to get up through that level. Here's another one. If I had been short because of that bearish left-right combo, I would have closed it as soon as it came back up above today's high, or that's where my stop, I'm sorry, what is today? Monday. Friday's high. Because if it came up through there in the oversold area, where do you think your first target's going to be? Back up to the T-line. And alt, little scoop type pattern. You can get ready to buy this one trading from here. PDLI, looks like a failed flag turn. Ticker J-hook held at, that looks like a little mini scoop pattern bouncing off the 50. Yes, that would kind of suspect that after they came up through the 50, they pulled back to see what's going to act as support. Next target should be up here. It also coincides with getting up here toward the 200-day moving average. Why didn't that Bearish engulfing, flat stochastics, you're above the T-line. It has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow to stay in it. AUPH, having a hard time getting up through this moving average or the kind of the bobble breakout. At this point, you could be buying on positive trading. I'd be more apt to buy on trading above today's high. AMD came back up. That's also that little mini scoop with a doji sandwich. You can buy this one on positive trading with the anticipation they're coming back up into that trend trajectory. Is it okay to enter tomorrow if it opens above today's open? Yes. But that looks more like there might be a little bit more consolidation going on. That was XXII. MWA. Nothing. Wouldn't be long or short. There was just no direction to that one. And UAVS, that one you get ready to buy on positive trading and confirmation, bullish confirmation. Then use the T-line as your stop. It shouldn't come back down there. Bearish left right combo on the Dow, yes. So this is what, not only is a bearish left right combo with stochastics heading down, it's got kind of that bearish booster that's showing more force to the downside. It means they were trading it positive, and then the force started driving it back down, and that's that upper booster. Home Depot probably wouldn't be long or short on this one. Just not a good trending situation right now. I'd be someplace else. And Atom, another one where during the day, if you had been long and it came up here that far away from the T-line, I would have definitely flipped over to the 10-minute chart and said, all right, if I didn't take profits here, I'm definitely taking profits here because look where we are there as far as the distance to the T-line. HGEN, you stay long. But look how far away you are from the T-line. If, oops, I hit the wrong chart apparently. I hit the wrong chart there. All right, I got to go backwards here. Did I do this on Atom? That was the daily chart. That was the 10-minute chart. All right. Didn't go UAVS. Again, this one has to open positive to stay in it. That's not the one. I must have started drinking way too early tonight. Big breakout. Stayed up pretty well. Look for a 45-degree off of here. Kodak. That's where I would have stopped out. If I had been long and trading this, that's where the stop should have been. Would have been stopped out because if they were selling, where were they bringing it back to? The T-line. Right now, wouldn't be long or short Kodak. Microvision, you can just stay long on this one. I'd have a safety stop at today's open. If it came back down through there, the profit taking has started. SGen, another one where I'd probably have my safety stop at today's low. Coffee, kicker signal, doji sandwich, breakout, stay long. And I used to know what coffee was, KCAH21. Yeah, there's the coffee chart for March. Taiwan, slow, steady uptrend. All you can do here is stay long. Don't let it close below the T-line. Mara, we did. You could buy this one on positive trading. Rite Aid is too early. Too early for what? I'd be ready to take profits if this opened lower tomorrow. That means they're bringing it back to the T-line. I wouldn't buy it until it comes back up through this level. UPS, nothing. That's as flat as a pancake. Would not be long or short UPS. We did Home Depot. I think the term is running your stops. Again, well, yeah, there's just too much volume on a lot of these stocks for market makers to try to run them. That one right there was based on an announcement, and I think it was an announcement that they put out a new offering, and maybe it was they announced that the offering had been bought up because it gapped up, then it came back off, and then still continued this downtrend. FireEye. Nothing. If you were able to stay short, which would have been pretty tough, because I probably would have covered a short position on this day when it gapped up above that open. Make it a little bit bigger. Now you can get ready to short it again if it opens lower, because that means after failing up here, they're more than likely going down to the 200-day moving average. United Health. Wait to see what it does at the 50. If I was short, yeah, I'd want to see whether it's going to support at the 50. I think we did this one. Yep, you can buy this one on positive trading. VLDR, nothing there. Nothing there. If you're long, it has to open positive tomorrow. Oh, you are long, okay. If it opens lower, it's a nothing chart. And D-Dog, you can buy this one. I'd buy it if it broke out through, let's say, the 105 area. Not a real prolific chart, but you definitely have a slow uptrend. And Matador was probably taking profits today. Whoops, big bearish engulfing. To stay long, it has to open positive tomorrow. Now, crude oil, as I had mentioned earlier, seems to be holding up reasonably well. So, 15 cents right now, but you can still see it's in this uptrend above the T-line. Oh, on DraftKings, this kind of fry pan bottom setup. Look at your bullish engulfing right smack dab off the 50. You're trading above the T-line. It actually came down and used the T-line as support. I'd still be a buyer of this on positive trading, anticipating that this is the trajectory you should be looking at. Lithium, kind of has to open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, you're in a very, very slow uptrend. You probably want to move money someplace else. If you're asking to short Matador, you could if it opens lower. NYCB, nothing there. It opened positive and came right back down. If I was long, and it opened lower tomorrow, I'd close it out. If I was thinking of going long, I probably wouldn't do anything until it broke through that level. CrowdStrike, Is it doing a double doji? That's more sogginess. You're in the overbought area. Usually you see a double doji as it starts out. They take it up, do a double doji, and then take it up again. This is more of a bearish harami, starting to get a little bit toppy. Again, that's because your stochastics are up in the overbought area. Etsy, you can stay long, just as long as it stays above the T-line, let alone the 3T line. Run, you could get ready to short this on weakness, especially if it breaks through this level. Because you can see that you've got kind of a blue ice failure. Now remember, you had a blue ice failure over here, but it's supported. So this is exactly why you can suspect what might happen. But if you see it not confirming, you close out the position. Starbucks, just a steady Eddy. Yeah, I wouldn't close any long position right now. You're still trading above the 3T line, let alone the T line. And you don't really have any sell signals up here. Newell, that one you can go short after the gap down. I'd first watch to see what it does at the 34 and then see if they can get it down to the 50. Yes, if you short it, just make sure you use the T line as your stop. I heard it's usually running the stops. Yeah, don't use round numbers because that's where everybody is making their decisions. Oh, you have to get some bullish confirmation on this one to get the J-hook started. So you definitely need to see positive trading from here. Union Pacific. I'd be ready to short this one. It's not going to be a very active one. Yeah, if it fills this gap, it's not holding the 50, that might give you some more selling. So you could short this one. Okay, Papa John's. Slow fry pan bottom. Nothing I would trade, but if you want to, you could be buying it as long as it stays above the T line. Jay, but you have to wait to see when the selling stops. Otherwise, you're just speculating that your analysis might be correct, and you're hoping everybody else's is. I would rather wait to see when everybody else decides to start buying. SSYS, you just stay long as it stays above the T line. Wave, not really. Just the breakout, you just stay long with it staying above the T line. Knee, Oh, blue ice failure potential. I say now that I see that this is a red candle. That's the problem with being colorblind. Yes, it's got that potential. I would short it on weakness, especially if it came down through there. Then it'd be targeting here. So you could short this one on weakness. And Moss, Nothing. If this one opens lower and you're long, close it out. That means they couldn't break out. You're still stuck sideways. Norton, little J-hook pattern. If you're long, you stay long on this. Probably wouldn't be a buyer now until they get up through the 50. But if I was long, I would just stay long. All right, Rite Aid reports tomorrow. Zynga, nothing. If I had been long with anticipating a bobble breakout, if it trades flat or lower tomorrow, I'd close it out. There's no direction. Yeah, this one has been acting well. There's a J-hook pattern in 3D. So what's the, that's an ETF, all right? That's a decent looking chart with a J-hook. Tech target, yeah, that could be a good short. And I don't have ones in mind, but here's a practice that you might use just to clarify in your own mind what is a strong sell signal. But you might go back and see if you can find others that did this and what the results are. And usually the results are they continue to sell it off. The SPY, if things open lower tomorrow, yes, you could be shorting it. SID, looks like it's probably coming back to test the T-line. If you're holding this one long, just stay long. You know, every time I see knee, it kind of reminds me, isn't that what the knights were yelling in Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Big breakout of a fry pan bottom. Another one where when you see that spike and you're up 100, well, that would have been 200%. That's where I would have stopped out, somewhere in here. In the killer rabbit, that's right. So anytime you see this type of thing, get ready to take profits off your 10-minute chart. Because as I always remind people, most investors are happier than pigs in doo-doo if they can get a 10% return on their portfolio over 12 months. If you can get a 200% return on a trade in one day, be pretty assured there's going to be other people ready to take profits. You just want to see when that profit taking starts. This one, yeah, I'd be ready to buy this one on positive trading. That's right, knee-high went out a long time ago. Soybeans, the January contract looks like it's starting to come back up. Now, I know wheat has been whipping around. Came up, had a $16, $18 day, and then sold right back off the next day. And look where it did. It kind of here at the resistance level. I know. A bearish flutter kicker's signal looks like, was it goose? A big bullish candle, then the doji gaps down and opens and closes as a doji below the open, and then it opens lower the next day. That's a bearish flutter kicker. No, the stick sandwich on wheat should have been, oh, maybe so. If they start bringing it back up, yes, could be doing a stick sandwich. Okay, so I would, we got to kind of observe the obvious, that they had a hard time getting through this level right there. And now they've sold it off. So that's kind of a good indication, especially with the other indexes all selling off, that they're starting to pull money out of this market. Bill, I don't know what the heck happened there. Not real concerned at 11 and 2, but it would have been nice to see that they could maintain their offensive drive all the way through the year. TGI could be forming a J-hook, but you definitely need to see positive trading from here. Okay, everybody, be ready to add some shorts to the portfolio if this market shows it's going to open up weaker tomorrow. Is there any way to resize the chart to include both stochastic chart and text? Is there any way to resize the chart to include both? Oh, yeah. If you put your cursor up at the top of the chat, you can pull it down so you can see make the screen bigger or smaller. GB. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow. Yeah, you can also make your screen fit to your screen by the little arrows up on the top line, either pointing in or pointing out. All right, we'll see everybody in the morning.